Hey everyone. Welcome. Welcome to today's daily tune in. I don't know about y'all, but I'll tell you what, these energies that we are in this this gateway, we're going to talk a little bit about it here in 30 seconds. I'll give people about 30 seconds to get on. But I'll tell you what, like I know energy like the back of my hand at this point. I know it better than like this physical world we live in. And I know how to handle them. I know, for the most part. I mean, I have my struggles, of course, but as I'm struggling with energy, I typically am pretty aware of what's happening. And I will tell you that I am I'm going to call it struggling, but in a completely different way than I've ever known before with energy. But struggling meaning like they are just prime energies of like updates. And these words don't even make sense, but these are just really strong because I know if I can feel them as strongly as I do and be aware of it and pay attention to how wiped out they're making me throughout the day. I know that those who aren't as familiar with energy or aren't sure, like, how to maneuver in these higher energies are really struggling. So I'm hoping that these daily tune-ins are going to be helpful for those of you who might feel like you are being bombarded. Another message that I got throughout the day, and I think I'm going to change up the way I do the daily tune-ins simply because of this experience. When I sat down this morning, which was my morning, to send out the email about what we're going to talk about, I wanted to go into part two of the anatomy of light, which we started yesterday. However, throughout the day, as I've lived in the energies of this day, um, there's been a different message that has come through that has wanted to be shared. So I'm going to try to intermingle them. But what I came to understand today is I am living geographically in a place where I go through these energies before you all do. Since many of you are in the US, you're in your morning time and getting started with your day. So by the time you are tuning in here, I have lived in the energies of the day that we're here to talk about. So I'm wondering now, going to explore just coming in here in this moment of my day and share with you how the energies were and maybe give you some nuggets that have helped me because um, the second part of the message that came in for me to share with you all today is that I've been kind of not able to really put my fingers on or put any substance or context around the urgency of what I feel with these gateway energies that are coming through in these, in the 3 weeks that we've been talking about. Again, coming to the end of it, it ends on the 22nd. So we're starting to come into the last 10 days or so of this energy tsunami. And the message that I got today is that like this is literally for many their initiation phase. And if you've been around on these daily tune-ins, you'll know about 2.5 weeks ago, I was explaining the physicality of living through the initiation that I just came through and like literally moving and, going through borders from Ukraine down to Albania. And there were so many lessons packed in there. There are so many tests of skill sets, so many challenges that came up along the way that I had to use and practice new skill sets of emotional intelligence and those higher frequencies to get through those challenges, knowing they were presenting themselves for me to practice my new version, so that I could maneuver through this initiation into a higher level of awareness and into a higher level of being, using the higher level of intelligence that I have been giving and practicing in my time in what I'll call Ukraine, which was that hallway time, right? The hallway time where it's really uncomfortable. So many of you are living through your own initiation in this Aquarian time. But because it's such a heavy, big, dense energy of light that's coming through, it's pushing you through the initiation phase faster than normal. Where I was able to, I went through it sooner so that I could report back that experience to you all, and yet I kind of had to build up to it in a natural progression. Is how I'm kind of being taught what just happened. So I was able to have the experience, in kind of chronological, linear time, so that I could really be aware of it and help you all that are now, a lot of people who are just being washed through it. And I know in the conversations that I've had and in comments that I've gotten, there's a lot of people sharing how they're like, I'm just done. I can't take anymore. And that's what the initiation phase does. It takes you to the brink of saying, I quit, I check out. Or do you rise above that, holding the line of consciousness and saying, this is in my highest and best good. And this last push, this last challenge, these challenges are taking me to a higher level of existence. And what do I need to do right now? How do I need to be right now in order to move through this challenge into the higher realms of existence? So these 3 weeks are extremely, extremely big in pushing you, up until like to the edge. Like your face is up against the wall, probably, because I feel it. But what the difference is that I'm on the other side of that initiation phase. So I'm in the integration phase, which is still wiping me out because all of the energy of that is now behind me. But as I go through this same portal or gateway with you, I am going through the anchoring in phase in a really fast way, and anchoring into a higher frequency, into a higher existence is really disorientating. Is so it's just kind of like going from the kiddie pool and being plunged into the adult pool that's been having, people swimming everywhere, and you're like, yay, I'm in the adult pool, but it's kind of chaotic right now. That's the same energies that I'm in is the same energy that you're in, but it's just we're kind of navigating these different phases of transformation in different time frames and different timelines, but we're going through these different phases at a very, very like warp speed. So that is why we are all feeling wiped out. That's why we are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, maybe. I did feel anxiety today as I walked through my day, and I was like, what? Because when I really just stopped with it, I was like, whoa, what? Here's this familiar feeling, right? I always had, where's my little cards? Anxiety was always those lower constricting um, feelings, because there's always something to worry about, worrying about the kids, worrying about moving, worrying about letting in my own world, letting go of selling off everything we've ever owned. Is this the right decision? Is this not? Are we going to be able to get around the world with all of this narrative going on, and all of these things that we had to worry about? Now that we are anchoring into the higher version, all of a sudden today, and I've been talking about this whole week, I have felt a peace in my life that I have never felt before, never in my entire life. And finally today, I was able to put my finger on that feeling that felt so much like anxiety, but I was like, it can't be anxiety because it doesn't make sense. I have nothing to really fear. Yes, I have improvements that I want to make, but I'm pretty convinced now. I trust now that whatever it is that like I want to create, I will create. So I don't worry about creating things. But so I'm like, I don't have anything to worry about. But the anxiety feeling was this anticipation of my ego just saying, we should have something to worry about, right? Like, what is this? My ego was having a moment of, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my job is. I don't know what I'm here to do. And it's this like disoriented feeling that all parts of me and maybe you are having in these days, in these really high influx of energy days, because not only are we navigating, coming out of a 3D expression of something in our life and moving into a higher expression, but we're also doing it with like massive these new energies that we talked about yesterday, and all of this new light is coming in. So not only are you trying to let go of old paradigms, but there's all of these new light packets, right, that we talked about, these light packets that come in on these light rays and go through and slice through our cells into the DNA. Then that DNA, not that DNA takes that message into our biocircuitry, into our energy field, into our resonating chakras, and that goes through our energy field. And we are being integrated into a superhuman form that we've never been before. So there's so much going on as we kind of acclimate, let go of old life and acclimate to this new life, and also try to step into and be initiated into the next level of ourselves. So these 3 weeks are extremely intense because of that, because of the fact that there is so much happening within you and around you and through those sun rays, that it's just blowing, it's kind of blowing your mind a little bit. It's blowing the circuitry, not beyond what you can handle, but it's taking you to your maximum threshold of being able to ground it all. Okay, you are not going to be given more than you can handle. You know that all the time. We hear that all the time. But this is where our guides, those light beings, those benevolent beings that are helping to spark this massive awakening, and using these energies to like force awaken many people. You know what's happening, but you can still feel the intensity of it. So as this is happening, we are being guided to wake up faster than ever. Even when we like, as we know what's happening, it's even a lot for us to keep up with, right? So for those who are still very much in the dark, who are still maybe operating in fear and still seeing things changing, there could be a lot of panic. So I think some of that anxiety that I was feeling was also collective anxiety of like, what's happening? Why is everything changing? Why am I changing? And in a world where we are taught to not talk about our vulnerabilities, people are having to deal with changes within that they may not understand and are afraid to talk to others about. So there's a lot of worry and anxiety happening. So if you're feeling a lot of that, know that much of it may not be yours, and to sit with it to really get clear on what anxiety or fear you might be feeling. I want to, just before I move on, I don't have a whole lot. I'm really worn out. I was going to go into the kind of the anatomy of humanity and how we got into the dark like we did, but that seemed like a good idea this morning when I was sitting here in the dark in my computer, and like, trying to like, what do I need to tune into, and but hours later, after this entire day went by, and it's like, again, like I was talking, linear time is so long here that it's been so much contemplation. And we took our walk and we just sat on the beach and let Priya run around. And as I sat on the beach, like like the knowledge, just light packets just kept lighting up to the point where I was like, yo, I need to stop for a second. Like I can only take so much. So that's what I mean. Like when you get overwhelmed with too much new information, you have the right, you have the free will to talk to your team and say, not like, shut me down for a minute. Like I need to just take a break, and whatever that looks like, so that you can calibrate and ground down to these energies, because we are having to consciously do it and just stop ourselves in mid sentence sometimes and be like, hold on a second. I've got enough going on. I've got these light bulb moments going on. I'm connecting all of these dots, piecing my whole life together and understanding how it all fits into this dark world that I lived in and thought it was like, this world that was for me to conquer, you know and now I'm learning of so many different ways in which the world conquered my energy and closed me down and shut me down, to a life where we were taken down thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. We were taken down to a two-stranded DNA human, which took away 10 of our strands. We were left with only two of our strands, which were the most physical strands that connected us to physical life, that connected us energetically to those lower chakras, which are more sensory. The sensories, our physical senses, our eyes, and how we perceive life was really like what we could touch and smell and see and taste. And just a little bit of our intuition was still in there, but not enough for us to be that fully expressed multi-sensory being that, the 12 strands of DNA that we are a natural DNA structure. Those strands is what really connects us into the multisensory. And because all of that has been activated now, all of those 12 strands have been activated and reconnected with their resonating chakra system, information now is flowing. Cosmic information is flowing in these light packets and then coming back around and into our brains and restructuring our brains, restructuring our bodies to come back into our multisensory uh, physicality. So everything now is kind of in working order. So it's like this whole new being is out here in the world going for the walk with the dog. And at the same time, there's like this being that's still trying to shut down old parts of the old world and realizing like, oh, I thought I shut everything down, but oh, there's this piece of it. Oh my gosh, going through what needs to be cleared for that, and then letting purging out that old programming and still being like, oh my gosh, I'm having all of these new experiences and understandings, and I'm understanding the world a little bit better. I'm understanding my husband even better, and I can like talk to my dog more. So there's so much that's happening. It's exhausting, and I know if it's exhausting for me because I'm so aware. I'm not like so aware. It's not that. I'm just like, I just know this world. I know this energy world, so I'm intimate with it. And when you know something inside and out, you can watch it happening and you can understand it. And if this isn't exactly your language or your world, I can understand where you're just like, why am I so tired, why am I so cranky, and why can't I just move through all of this stuff? And we become hard on ourselves. So I'm here to just give you permission to be okay if you're not okay. If you need to rest, take a rest this weekend. Just rest. Let the kids not bathe for a day. Let the house stay messy. It's okay to have some fast meal. I'm not certainly not saying like a McDonald's fast meal, but it's okay to have cereal for dinner so that everybody can just rest and have a little bit of fun. So give yourself permission this week, especially this weekend, to rest and to rejuvenate, because these energies coming in are no joke at the moment. They are really, really, really high and really, really powerful. Okay, let's see what y'all have to say. I'm not sure where my water went. I was going to take a sip of water. Oh, I just want to show you this too. This is the other thing too that I'm like starting to realize like how much time was wasted on doing stupid stuff. So while we were in Ukraine, like I barely took care of my physical self. Like I mean, I did. I would shower and do like the bare minimum, but like a lot of my self care was moving through a lot of dark night of the soul kind of stuff and grief and all of the things. So the things that I would do when I'm in my comfort zone is like massage cuticle oil, do my nails. So my nails, like everything was just, my feet are dry and yucky, and I'm like, I just kind of like, I see my nails so short now and my feet. So when we finally got here, so I told Bud, I was like, honey, I have got to like take care of myself. I want to get some masks, like some really good, yummy, like Greek masks. I don't even know why I'm calling it Greek, but I have this vision in my head of like olive oil and like whatever's grown around here, the mud or whatever. Like I want it all over. And I was going in and out of these shops yesterday to because I wanted to get like a pumice stone for my feet, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that much money for a damn pumice stone. Like it just seems so ridiculous to me. And it's all plastic, like wrapped in plastic and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to scrub my feet with something that's been in plastic. And we're walking across the beach today, the rocky beaches here, which I wasn't really excited about when I first saw them. But y'all, the the sound of the water coming in and when it recedes, the sound of it pulling the rocks is a sound I had never heard before. And I was listening to it earlier yesterday, and Bud was he was quiet next to me. We were sitting there and he's like, "That's a crazy sound." I was like, "Yeah, the rocks, right?" Like we both heard it, we both became aware of it and just tuned into it. But there's like now it's like a completely different experience when we go to the beach because I'm not like, oh, I can't lay on that beach. I want to go and sit on it and listen to the water pulling these rocks. But as we were walking on the beach today, Bud leaned down. He's like, "Here, babe, there's a pumice stone." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's like the perfect pumice stone. I've been looking for it." And I bring it on here as an example of just yesterday. I was literally was like pissed off because I'm like, I'm not paying for my plastic and public pumice stones at like $6. Like in Albania, that's it's insane. And here they are, like in the 5D world, like everything you need is all around you, but it doesn't even like I'm so conditioned. I think we are so conditioned to just go to the store to get whatever you need. And like there's this beautiful we have this beautiful wall out here on our balcony and I was like, we need plants. I want one like a wall garden. And I was like, oh, we need to find like a Home Depot thing to find like the thing to hang it on. And my husband's like, what are you talking about? And he went down the street the other day and found this beautiful lattice work that we bring it up and we're going to just use like old lattice that we found on the side of the road to make a garden on the wall. So like all of this new the new consciousness of the 5D world is kind of it's like sparking in my everyday life. I'm like, oh, that's what it means. It's just, we're more sustainable. We don't go and buy new things for everything. We find pumice stones in our field, and like I cannot wait to like grind my feet with this tonight in the shower and have it be like tossed in the Ionian Sea and the energy that's in it and the light packets. I put it on the table out on the balcony, so it's been sitting in the sun all day. So when I scrub my feet, these light packets of energy are gonna go into my heels and ground me down even more. Like I think about all of that stuff, and I hope you are too. And this beautiful lattice work that we have, once it's a garden and it's up on our wall, like the fact that we won't have gone to Home Depot, which doesn't really exist here, and all the things that like the ease of just being able to live and find our things as we go is so exciting to me. And I think this is like it's starting to make sense to me as to why we have gotten away so much from our natural instincts of creativity, and you want something and like how do you create it so that you fall in love with the process of it, and that makes you even more fall in love with the end result. Then you appreciate your life so much more when you've built it. And I think that's ultimately what Bud and I wanted when we were like, let's get rid of everything that was a culmination of a lifetime of another marriage and other relationships. We had this beautiful house, and we loved our house, but it was filled with all the things that weren't us. And like we wanted to start completely over and rebuild our life organically and find things. I found my first pumice stone, and he found this lattice work, and I'll share pictures of it as we go. But I'm feeling more and more of the peace and ease of this higher frequency, but we just have to move through this initiation phase that many, many, many people are going to be going through in these next, few weeks and the next couple of months, I do believe. So, but no, on the other side is like massive, massive peace and a time to be able to anchor and plateau a little bit so that you can anchor in and calibrate to the new energies. Okay. All right. So hopefully that all made sense. I don't know. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Kazembe in London. Dang, autocorrect. Good morning. Feel like I got over a huge hurdle yesterday, Tara. Oh, good. Totally wiped today, but have so much more peace finally. Hang on. I want to show you all something. Um, uh, Tara, I completely thought of you. So I was picking up rocks on the beach. This is going to be a hard one to see, but yesterday we did the scribble workshop, and it was a really beautiful. It kind of turned out differently than I it was like in my head, but it turned out beautifully because there was a lot of sharing. But Tara, I came across this rock, and I was like, "Honey, look at this rock!" And it's just a rock, and it has this like it looks like script on it. Like you can't. It's part of the rock. So if you can see it, and it reminded me, Tara, I'm pretty sure that was your drawing, that was in like that tiny, tiny script. And I know Carly, yours was similar too, but your script was a little bit different. But I picked this rock up, literally like thousands, I mean, millions of rocks all over. And I went down and I was like, this looks like one of the messages from last night. It looks like it could be text, but I can't get close enough to really see it. But it was like the most beautiful little sweet rock, and it reminded me of our workshop yesterday. So I picked it up, and I sent y'all, everyone that was on that call, and Tara, especially you. I sent a beam of light to y'all because I knew it was this. This was a message that came in from my team to send out this message to you all of healing and love. So I'm glad that you transversed. That's going to be the word I use because my brain's fried. Transversed your hurdle from yesterday. Good job, lady. I know those hurdles, when you get over them, you're like, yes, yes. You feel like such a rock star, right? But you do. You have to take a nap. So just take care of yourself. Take care of yourself this weekend. The roller coaster is making me feel like a crazy person. One day I'm in peace, the next I'm in an overwhelm. Yeah, Brenna, that's it. That whole like, I mean, I would say go back and listen to the last couple of weeks in Ukraine for me was that. Like one minute I was in full fear, and then all of a sudden I was like, I don't care. And then I was just like, I'm in peace. And then I was like, I'm afraid. And the day that we left, like y'all, I could buy I think I even said it. Like I was like almost pooping my pants. I'm gonna be fully vulnerable. Like I didn't, thank God. But like my stomach was so upset and in so much overwhelm and so much fear. But I also recognized I was in fear and knew it wasn't going to serve me at all for this, like the initiation phase to get over that final hurdle and to like talk myself off of the ledge of overwhelm and worry and anxiety and get to that place of peace. It was like this, right? I did feel like I was crazy. So I hear you. I hear it. Yeah, Brenna, cereal for dinner it is. My kids used to love like when I'd be like, it's cereal night. We didn't do it very often because I was still in like, oh, I have to make dinner every night. But there were nights where I'm like, cereal for dinner. And they're like, yeah. So I came to love cereal for dinner nights too. Thanks for the be kind to yourself message. I woke up so irritated and cranky this morning. It's in the energy, Carly. So today holds that. So just know it. Like I've been through hours and hours of today already, and you guys are going to pass through like that same energy zone. I'm pretty convinced that I've already been through, and there was that irritating kind of abrasive energy. I called it anxiety because all of a sudden I was like, what is this? Like what is taking over in this moment of beauty for me? Why am I feeling like this? So it sounds like you might be in that as well. So just be aware of it. Just know it could be that kind of day. And if you just know it's coming, then you know to transverse through it using my word and just move through it. I hate to like take it off, but like or diminish it. It's not that, but it's become that for me when these heavier feelings come up. It's like, oh, you again? All right, like do we have to do this? Are we gonna do this? Okay, you're gonna hang on there. Well, then let's go. Take my hand, anxiety. We're just gonna walk through today, and don't allow it to like drag you behind it. Oh my goodness, it's my drawing. Yeah, yeah, not crazy. Oops, meant no way, that rock. Yeah, this rock was really, I mean, it was so beautiful. I wish you could, I mean, there's like, you can't feel that it's etched. It's just like, I'm dying to know because I love stuff like this, but it literally looks like text. And I'm like, what message is on this for me to find in this like land of beautiful, ancient stuff. Like we are in the hotbed of, kind of getting into the Middle East area here where like, you know, the mystics traveled on foot giving the same messages we're talking about here about the mysteries and how powerful we are. And like it just feels so sacred to me here. It's a very, very sacred energy here. So that on top of like the bigness of just like the cosmic stuff coming in, it feels very disorienting to me. So cool to see that. So cool. I'm also noticing people around me who have no idea what's going on, feeling how I'm feeling. How can I help them without sounding crazy? That, Tara, that seems to be the challenge for all of us. And I don't know if I have an eloquent answer because um, it's really hard to jump right into it, right? Like I've had that same. I think we all are challenged with that. Um, And I think it's just like that's our practice, right? As light workers, how do you bring the light without completely shutting someone down who is in the dark? And it doesn't mean they're a bad person, it just means that they don't have all the information. So when you have a little bit more information to share, sometimes, and if we can all remember when we were in the dark at one point, I mean, there was a one point in my life if somebody said anything about energy, I'd roll my eyes and like walk off. My ex-husband gave me the Celestine prophecy billions of years ago, it seems like. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to that. Thanks. Like he was the energy person. Now, like we completely swapped and he's like, energy's stupid. And like, I'm like, energy. So back in that day, like I wasn't open to it. So, one of the things that my friend Mary says all the time is we are simply just planting seeds. And so a lot of times, we have new neighbors that are really completely not, into this conversation, and they were bringing up something. And I was like, well, there's this weird thing going on the planet. I can tell you about it if you want, but my husband tells me I'm like, I talk too much about it. But I was like, there's this really cool thing that's happening in space that's affecting all of humans. So if you want to know more, I kind of like joke about it, planting these seeds. But I don't know if we all know how to really do it. We're pioneers here. So I don't have the most eloquent way of putting it, except for if I just go work with these energies, if I go do this thing called ascension, I go through this process and I share what I can, eventually someone's going to say, how do you do this? Like, how did you get to where you are? I've seen you, kind of grow and change and do all the things. And then at that point, I can say, if you really want to know, you open to some weird, or you open up, to something else. But once I figure that out, I will share it. But I have not become very eloquent at it either. So I've just kind of shut down trying to seed anything and just plant the seeds of me just doing it. And when someone sees my garden growing and they say, wow, like your garden looks really mystical and looks really amazing. How'd you do that? Then I'll say, sit down and we'll have a conversation if you really want to know. Um, so I would say have everybody come to you. Such a good book. Yeah, I'm actually planting real surfs at this moment for my garden. Nice. I don't know what surfs are. Probably an autocorrect kind of thing, but yes, for your garden. We are all planting a garden. Like the hardest part of the garden is like the hoeing and the unfun stuff, right? We've been doing a lot of that, like all the work that goes into planting a garden before it actually comes to the fun stuff. So that's what these last couple of months and years have been, is like just getting the garden prepared. And I don't know what phase we're in now. I didn't really go into this metaphor. I didn't plan for this metaphor. So, but we are we're about to like start like sowing the seeds, and having those seeds come into something. So that is the 5D consciousness, the 5D lifestyles that are going to start to be seeded, that are going to not seeded, they're going to start to grow, and people are going to start to see this new life, these changes that you're making, and how courageous you're being. They're going to start seeing some of those flowers start to bloom. So that's like we're just in that awkward phase at the moment, is what I'm getting. Okay. Yes, Isabel, I thought you meant seeds. Wasn't sure. I was like, oh, is there another terminology, that a gardening terminology that I didn't know? It's called surds, or what do you say? um Okay, I think that's about all I have. My head's about to explode from I don't know what. I'm gonna drink some water. I have a client here coming up, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So there's a lot of really cool work that I'm doing with clients. If you are needing or requiring some extra support, I do sessions. You can find all the information on my website. If you just are appreciative to come to this community and love to come here on every day, please consider leaving a tip, so to speak. I have a link at the top there if you'd like to leave a tip. This is my job. Like I don't I don't get paid twice a week for doing it. I'm still waiting on like the galactics to decide to send me a check through some kind of like spacey banking system, but until that happens, I'm still kind of attached to the 3D world and do require financial support. So if you like my job, if you like how I'm doing it, by all means, you can throw into the tip jar because that's how I'm living. This is how I do this work, and this is how I do it in service to others. I just bring it, knowing that it'll be taken care of. So we're all living on full trust at this moment. So thank you all so much for being here. I will see you on Monday. I might just show up on Monday. I may not put an email out. I might actually follow up the next day with the recording of the previous day's uh, uh, daily tune in. So I'm feeling like a shift coming on how I'm going to prepare for this, just because so much growth happens during the day that I feel disconnected from what I've sent out this morning. So figuring what that looks like, I'm not sure, but either way, I'll be back here on Monday at my normal time, and we'll see how we get here. All right, y'all. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself this weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Love so much.